At last.
Oh, Henry, something dreadful has happened.
What is the matter?
I've lost your poems.
They were unworthy of you. I will write you some more.
No, no thank you. Never any more poems for me. Oh, how could I be so mad, so rash, so imprudent?
Thank the heavens for your madness, your rashness, your imprudence.
Oh, be sensible, Henry. Can't you see what a terrible thing this is for me? Suppose anybody finds those poems. What would they think?
They will think that a man once loved a woman more devotedly than man ever loved woman before. But they will not know what man it was.
Oh, what good is it to me if everybody would know what woman it was?
But how will they know?
How would they know? Why, my name is all over them. My silly, unhappy name. Oh, if only I was christened Mary Jane or Gladys Muriel or Beatrice or Francesca or something quite common. But Aurora, Aurora. I'm the only Aurora in London, and everybody knows that. I believe I'm the only Aurora in the world. Oh, and it's so horribly easy to rhyme to it. Oh, Henry, why didn't you try to write? To restrain your feelings in a little common consideration for me. Why didn't you try to write with some little reserve?
Write poems to you with reserve. You ask that of me.
Yes, dear. It was very nice of you. And I know it's my own fault as much as yours. I ought to have noticed your verses ought never to be addressed to a married woman.
Oh, how I wish they had been addressed to an unmarried woman. How I wish they had.
Indeed, you have no right to wish for anything of the sort. They are rather unfit for anybody but a married woman. That's just the difficulty. Oh, what would my sisters-in-law think of them?
You have sisters-in-law.
Well, yes, I do, of course. Do you suppose I'm an angel?
Oh, heavens, I do. I do, or I did.
Oh, listen to me, dear. It was really nice of you to live with me in a dream and to love me and so on. But I can't help my husband having disagreeable relatives now, can I?
Oh, yes. They're your husband's relatives. Forgive me, Aurora, I've forgotten that.
The fact is, Teddy's got nothing but relatives. He has 8 sisters and 6 half-sisters and ever so many brothers. But I don't mind his brothers. Now, if you only knew the least little thing about the world, Henry, you would know that in a large family, though the sisters argue with one another like mad all the time, yet let one of the brothers marry and they all turn on their unfortunate sister-in-law and devote the rest of their lives in perfect unanimity in persuading him that she's unworthy of him. And they can do so to her very face without her knowing, because they always have a lot of stupid, low family jokes that nobody understands about themselves. Half of the time we don't even know what they're talking about, and it drives you wild. Ugh. There ought to be a law against a man's sister ever entering his house after he's married. I'm as certain as that, as I'm sitting here, that Georgina stole those poems from my workbox.
But she will not understand them.
Oh, won't she? Oh, won't she? Oh, she'll understand them only too well. She'll understand more harm than ever was in them. Oh, the nasty, vulgar-minded cat.
Aurora, don't think of her that way. Don't think of her at all. Do you remember the time I sat here at your feet and read you these poems for the first time?
I shouldn't have let you. I know that now. When I think of Georgina sitting there at Teddy's feet and reading them to him for the first time, oh, I feel I shall just go distracted.
That would be a profanation.
Oh, I don't care about a profanation. But what would Teddy think? What will he do? Oh, you don't seem to think a bit about Teddy.
Of course, Teddy is nothing to me. And Georgina, less than nothing.
Oh, you'll soon find out how much less of a nothing she is. If you think a woman can't do any harm because she's just a scandal-mongering dowdy ratbag, then you're greatly mistaken. Oh. Oh, Henry, help me. Find a way out of this for me. And I'll bless you as long as you live. Oh, how wretched I am.
I know how happy I am.
Oh, don't be selfish.
Yes, I deserve that. If I were to go to the stake with you, I would still be so happy with you that I forget my danger as utterly as your own.
Oh, you are a dear darling boy, Henry. But it's no use. I need somebody who can tell me what to do.
Your heart will tell you at the right time. I have thought deep and hard about this, and I know what we two must do, sooner or later.
No, Henry. I will do nothing improper, nothing dishonorable.
Oh, but if you did, you'd no longer be Aurora. Our course is perfectly simple, perfectly straightforward, perfectly stainless and true. We love one another. I'm not ashamed of that. And I'm ready to go out and proclaim it to all of London, as soon as I will proclaim it to your husband. As you soon will see, that this is the only way honorable enough for your feet to tread. Let us go out now, together, hand in hand, without concealment and without shame. Remember, we owe something to your husband. He's been a kind man, and he perhaps once loved you as much as his sordid commercial environment permitted him to. We owe it to him, to not let him learn the truth from the lips of a scandalmonger. Let us go out to him, quietly, hand in hand. Bid him farewell.
But where shall we go?
We will not depart by a hair's breadth from a natural current of our lives. We were going to the theatre when the loss of the poems compelled us to take action at once. We shall go to the theatre still. But we will leave your diamonds here, for we cannot afford diamonds and do not need them.
I told you I hated diamonds. Only Teddy insists on hanging me all over with them. You need not preach simplicity to me.
Nor have I thought of doing so, dearest. I know these trivialities mean nothing to you. What was I saying? Oh yes, instead of coming back here, you will come with me to my home. Now and henceforth, our home. And in due course of time, when you are divorced, we can go through whatever legal ceremonies you may desire. I attach no importance to the law. My love was not founded in me by the law, nor cannot be loosed or bound by it. That is sweet enough and simple enough, is it not? Here are flowers for you. I have the tickets. We will go and ask your husband to lend us the carriage to show that there is no malice and no grudge between us. Come.
Do you mean to say that? That you propose that? We should walk right back up to Teddy and tell him that we're going away together?
Yes, what can be simpler?
And do you think for a moment that he'd stand it? He would kill you!
Dearest, you do not understand these things. How could you? I have followed the Greek ideals and not neglected the culture of my body. Like all poets, I have a passion for pugilism. Your husband would make a tolerable second-rate heavyweight if he was in training and 10 years younger. For it is, he could, if strung up by a great burst of passion, give a good account for himself for perhaps 15 seconds. But I am active enough to stay out of his reach for 15 seconds. And soon after, I should simply be all over him.
What do you mean by all over him?
Oh, dearest, at all occasions, you shan't be anxious about me.
But what about Teddy? Do you mean to tell me that you're going to beat Teddy before my face like a brutal prize fighter?
All this alarm is needless. Your husband knows I'm capable of defending myself. Under such circumstances, nothing ever happens. And of course, I will do nothing. The man that once loved you is sacred to me.
Doesn't he love me still? Has he told you anything?
No, dearest, all of these worries, they belong to a lower plane. Come up with me to the higher ones, the heights, the solitudes, the soul world.
No, it's no use, Mr. Apjohn.
Mr. Apjohn?
I meant Henry, of course. Excuse me.
How could you even think of me as Mr. Apjohn? I never think of you as Mrs. Bompas. It's always Aurora.
Yes, dear, that's all too well. Mr. Apjohn. No, stop. It's no use. I've suddenly begun to think of you as Mr. Apjohn, and it's ridiculous to go on calling you Henry. I thought you were only a child, a boy, a dreamer. I thought you'd be too much afraid to do anything. And now you want to beat up Teddy and to break up my home and to disgrace me and make a horrible scandal out of the papers. That's cruel, unmanly, cowardly.
Are you afraid?
Oh, of course I'm afraid. So would you be if you had any common sense.
Perfect love casteth out fear. And this is why I am not afraid. Mrs. Bompas, you do not love me.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. You can be very nice, Henry.
Why do you thank me?
For calling me Mrs. Bompas again. I know now that you're going to be good and reasonable and behave like a gentleman. What's the matter?
Once or twice in my life, I dreamt that I was exquisitely happy and blessed. But oh, at the misgiving of consciousness, the stab of reality, the prison walls of the bedroom. And oh, this time I thought I was awake.
Listen to me, Henry. We really haven't time for all this sort of rebuttal now. Oh, take care. You nearly hit me in the chin at the top of your head.
Pardon me. I'm ready to behave like a gentleman as soon as you will be kind enough to explain exactly how.
Thank you. I knew you would. You're not angry at me, are you?
Go on. Give me something to think about, or I will.
No, don't break my fan, or don't! No, really! That's a stupid trick! I don't like that! You have no right to do that! Oh, how could you be so inconsiderate?
Forgive me, I'll buy you a new one.
No, you'll never be able to match it. And it was a particular favorite of mine.
Then you'll have to do without it, that is all.
That's not a very nice thing to say after breaking my pet fan, I think.
If you knew how close I was to breaking Teddy's pet wife and presenting him with the pieces, you would be thankful you are still alive, instead of howling over 5 shillings worth of ivory. Damn your pet fan!
Oh, don't you dare swear in my presence! One would think you're my husband.
This is some horrible dream. What has become of you? You are not my Aurora.
Oh, well, if you put it that way, what has become to you? Do you think that I would have encouraged you if I'd known you were such a little devil?
Don't drag me down. Help me find a way back up to the heights.
If you would only be reasonable, Henry. If you would only remember that I'm on the edge of ruin and not go on calmly saying it's all quite simple.
But it seems so to me.
If you say that again, I shall do something I'll be sorry for. Here we are, standing at the edge of a frightful precipice. No doubt it's quite simple to go over and have done with it. But can't you suggest anything more reasonable?
I I can suggest nothing now. Black darkness has fallen, and I can see nothing but the ruins of our dreams.
Can't you? Well, I can. I can see Georgina rubbing those poems into Teddy. And I tell you, Mr. Apjohn, you got me into this mess and you must get me out of it again.
You're right. I apologize. What do you wish of me? I'm at your service.
Do you know anybody with the name Aurora?
No.
There's no use saying no in that frozen pig-headed way. You must know some Aurora out of somewhere.
But I thought you said you were the only Aurora in the world. And oh God, you were the only Aurora in the world for me.
Yes. It was very nice of you. And I appreciate it. Indeed I do. But it's just not seasonable just at present. Now just listen to me. I suppose you know all the poems by heart?
Yes, by heart. Don't you?
Well, I can never remember verses. Besides, I've been so busy I haven't had time to read them all. Though I intend to, the very first moment I can get. I promise you that most faithfully, Henry. But try to remember very precisely. Does the name Bompas occur in any of your poems?
No!
You're quite sure?
Of course I'm quite sure. How can I use such a name in a poem?
I don't see why not. It rhymes with rumpus. Seems appropriate enough at present. Ah, goodness knows. But you're a poet. You ought to know.
What difference does it make now?
It makes a lot of difference, I can tell you. If there's nothing to do with bumpers in a poem, we can say that it was written to some other Aurora, and that you showed them to me because my name is Aurora too. So you have to invent another Aurora for the occasion.
If you wish me to tell a lie,
Surely, as a gentleman, as a man of honor, you wouldn't tell the truth, now would you?
Very well. I will lie for you. I will protest and I will stand on my honor. I will be the gentleman, never fear.
Yes, well, put it all on me, of course. Don't be mean, Henry.
You are right. I apologize. Forgive my temper. I have growing pains, I think.
Growing pains?
The process of growing from romantic boyhood into cynical maturity usually takes 15 years. When compressed into 15 minutes, the pace is too fast, and growing pains are the result.
Is this a time for cleverness? It's settled, isn't it? That you're going to be nice and good, and that you'll brazen it out to Teddy that we have some other Aurora.
Yes, I am capable of anything now. I should not have told him the truth by heart, and now I will not lie to him by heart. I will wallow in the honor of a gentleman.
Dearest boy, I knew you would.
What is the matter?
It's Teddy. I hear him tapping the new barometer. He can't have anything serious on his mind, or he wouldn't do that. Perhaps Georgina hasn't said anything yet. Try to look as if there's nothing the matter. Give me my gloves, quick! Quick! Stand further away from me, quick! If I were to button my gloves and you were to hum a tune, do you think that...
The tableau would be complete in all its guiltiness. Put down that glove, Mrs. Bompas. You look like a pickpocket.
Ah, hello. I thought the two of you were at the theater.
I felt anxious about you, Teddy. Why didn't you come home for dinner?
I received a message from Georgina. She wanted me to see her.
Oh, poor dear Georgina. I'm sorry I haven't been able to call on her this last week. I hope there's nothing the matter with her?
No, nothing. Just a little anxiety over my welfare. And yours? Apjohn, I should like a word with you later this evening. And that is if Aurora, you could spare him for a moment?
Yes, I'm at your service.
No hurry. After the theatre will do.
We have decided not to go.
Indeed. Well, shall we adjourn to my snuggery?
You need not move. I shall go and lock up my diamonds, since we're not going to the theatre. Give me my things.
Well, we shall have more room here then. So, if it's not disturbing you, Rory?
Not at all.
Do these manuscripts seem at all familiar to you, may I ask?
Manuscripts?
Would you like to have a look at them a little closer?
Why, yes, those are my poems.
So I gather.
Oh, what a shame. Mrs. Bompas has shown them to you? You must think me an utter ass. I wrote them years ago, you see, after reading Swinburne's Songs Before Sunrise. Nothing would do me then, but I must reel off a set of songs to the sunrise. They're all about Aurora, you see. The rosy-fingered Aurora. When Mrs. Bompas has told me her name was Aurora too, I could not help the temptation but to lend them to her to read. But I never bargained for your unsympathetic eyes.
Apjohn, that's really very ready of you. You are cut out for literature. But I have heard far thinner stories from much older men.
Do you mean to imply that you do not believe me?
Do you expect me to believe you?
I do not understand. Why not?
Oh, come, Apjohn. Don't underestimate your own cleverness. I'm sure you understand pretty well.
I assure you I'm at a loss. Can you not be a little more explicit?
Oh, come, Apjohn, this is getting too much. Now, I shall be so far explicit as to tell you that if you think these poems read as if they were addressed not to a living woman, but to some cold, shivering time of the day when you were never out of bed in your life, you don't do any justice to your own literary powers, which I do admire as much as any other man. Come, Apjohn. Own up. You wrote these poems to my wife. Of course you did.
Mr. Bompas, I assure you, you are mistaken. I need not tell you that Mrs. Bompas is a lady of stainless honor who never casts an unworthy thought on me. The fact that she has shown you my poems.
That is not a fact. I came across them without her knowledge. She did not show them to me.
Doesn't that prove their perfect innocence? She would have shown them to you immediately had she known your quite unfounded view of them.
Apjohn, play fair. Don't abuse your intellectual gifts. Do you mean to say I'm making a fool of myself?
Believe me, you are. I assure you on my honor as a gentleman that I have never had the slightest feelings to Mrs. Bompas beyond the esteem and regards of a pleasant acquaintance.
Indeed?
Yes, of course. I could never have dreamt of writing poems to her. The thought, it's absurd.
And why is it absurd?
It just happens to be that I do not admire Mrs. Bompas that way.
I tell you, Mrs. Bompas has been admired by far better gentlemen than you, you soapy-headed little puppy, you!
Mr. Bompas, there's no need to insult me like this. I assure you on my honor as a gentleman.
You do not admire Mrs. Bompas? You wouldn't dream of writing poems to my wife? You think my wife is not good enough for you, do you? Who do you think you are, pray tell, that you are so jolly superior?
Mr. Bompas, I can make allowances for your jealousy.
Jealousy? You think I'm jealous of you? Nah, not 10 like you. If you think I'll stand here and allow you to insult my wife in her own home, you're sorely mistaken.
Be reasonable. I tell you that my relations with Mrs. Bompas are relations of coldness and indifference.
Say it again! Say it again! You're proud of it, aren't you? My God, you're kicking!
Look here! I'm not gonna stand this, you see.
Well, I see you've got blood in you after all.
This is ridiculous! Mrs. Bompas she's quite...
What is Mrs. Bompas to you, may I ask? I'll tell you what Mrs. Bompas is. She's the smartest woman from the smartest set in South Kensington. The cleverest, the most handsome, and the most fetching to experienced gentlemen who knew a good thing when they see it. Unlike some conceited, penny-aligning puppy who thinks nothing good enough for him. It's admitted by the best. And to not know it renders you unknown. 3 of my first actor managers were willing to pay her $100 a week to go on stage when they decide to open their repertory theatre. And they would know what they are about as much as you would. The only member of the current cabinet whom you could consider a handsome gentleman once had to neglect his duties to the country because he wanted to dance with my wife. But he's not a member of our regular set. There is an experienced professional poet from Bedford Park. He once wrote a sonnet to my wife, worth more than all your amateur trash. The eldest son of a duke once met me in Ascot Park and hesitated to call on me on the grounds that his feelings for my wife were not consistent with his duties to me as a host. And that did him great honor, as it did me. And my wife's not good enough for you? And you treat her with coldness and indifference? And you have the cool cheek to say that to my face? For 2 pins, I'll flatten your nose in to teach you some manners. Introducing a fine woman to him is like casting pearls before swine. Before swine, do you hear?
Call me a swine again and I'll land you one on the chin that'll make your head spin for a week.
What did you say?
Oh no, you shan't, Teddy, you shan't! You shan't, he's a prize fighter, he'll kill you!
I'll prize fight him!
No, Teddy, don't let him fight you! Stop that, both of you!
You gave me the most frightful bump at the back of my head. It hurts.
Both of you, promise me. Please.
No, I won't. Not until he takes it back.
He will, he does, he takes it back. You do, don't you, Teddy? Don't you, Henry? Come on, you do.
I take it back. I take it all back. All without reserve.
Is anybody going to help me out? Now, shake hands and be good, come on.
I will do nothing of the sort. I steeped myself in lies for your sake. The only reward I got was a bump at the back of my head, the size of an apple. Now I'll go back to the straight path.
Oh, for Henry's sake, please. Please, stop.
No, it's no use. Your husband is a fool and a brute.
What is that you said?
I said you're a fool and a brute. And if you step outside with me, I'll say it again.
No, Please.
I wrote these poems to your wife and to nobody else. I wrote them because I loved her and I thought her the most beautiful woman in the world. And I told her this over and over again. I adored her, do you hear? Adored her! What she can see in you, goodness only knows.
Do you really mean that?
I do, and a lot more too. I asked her to walk out of the house with me, to divorce you, and to marry me. It was her refusal that ended it. What she can see in me, goodness only knows.
Oh. Why did you tell me all this earlier? I apologize. Don't bear malice. Come on, shake hands. Aurora, come here. Get him to shake hands, Rory.
For my sake, after all, he is my husband. Shake his hand. Yes.
You gotta own it. And none of your literary herons can match my Rory. Rory, never knew a single man who could resist you. Never knew a man who could last more than 3 days.
Don't be ridiculous, Teddy. Oh, Henry. I hope you were not really hurt. That's quite a bump. I shall go get some vinegar and brown paper.
I say, could you do us a great favor? I mean, I hate to ask, but it would do a great kindness to both of us.
What can I do?
Maybe get these printed. The finest style, the best paper, sumptuous binding, everything first class. They are such beautiful poems. I should love to show them around a bit.
Oh, Henry, if you don't mind.
I don't mind. I'm past minding anything. I've grown so much this evening.
How old are you, Henry?
This morning I was 18. But now I'm confounded.
What should we call this volume? I mean, to Aurora or something like that?
I would say we call it How He Lied to Her Husband.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Caleb, please join us. I would just like to take this short moment to thank the people that you don't see here behind stage. Sonia for doing makeup, thank you very much. Hidayah for doing the posters. And also just to remind you that Miles will be performing Lion King. So please stay back, have a chat with the actors to find a bit more about Miles and the Lion King. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for being a wonderful audience. Good night.
Before you leave, I would like to call up on stage a wonderful person that helped us put this play together and to create the wonderful top hat that you saw at the beginning. Mr. Ruel.
Thanks.
And we would like to call the wonderful director of this play, Madame Ramos. Madam Janice, please.
There's been a request that their names be known. So would you please introduce all the actors? Yeah.
Oh, okay, sure. Why? You can introduce yourselves.
Don't go away, Rama.
Kauthaman,